This is the Mi A1. It's too late for a review considering the Mi A2 is right around the corner and its Chinese version is already available for purchase, and so let's ask the age-old question. Is the Mi A1 worth it? Let's find out. I only purchased the Mi A1 4 months after its release because I didn't find the need to buy it, probably because I purchased the LG Q6 5 months before buying the Mi A1 and was enjoying the bezel-less display on a budget, probably the first one to bring it to the budget segment. And now, I've been using the Mi A2 for about 5 months, and so even though the phone is in the market for over 10 months, I only spent 5 months roughly with it. So wrap your mind around that. Let's not complain about the bezels because it's a 10 months old device and the bezel-less trend just started at that point. Let's concentrate on the most important part, which is between those bezels. The display. Let me right away tell you, the display might not be the best selling point, but I must surely admit, I love cooler color accents on displays, and this one is really good at that. I find the color temperatures to be cooler than the LG Q6, which was my favorite device in the budget category. That doesn't mean I have nothing bad to tell about the Mi A1's display. Well, Xiaomi uses displays from 2 companies, namely Tianma and Ilitech. The best way to find out which display you have is if your display is way cooler, it's Tianma, and if yours is way warmer, it's Ilitech. And I have the Tianma one. Yes, I like it because it's cooler, but it has a major or minor problem depending upon how you view the issue. The IPS panel retains some of the brighter static icons or images, usually the status bar, and it can be seen once we get into darker pages. This kind of problem is called image persistence. Yes, it recovers quickly, but it's really irritating to see ghosting of the previous app on the present app while watching videos. Hope this will not be an issue on the Mi A2. Other than that, this is a lovely display considering the contrast, sharpness, and it's well saturated too, and everything associated with the display is good except the display is very reflective, which makes it harder to use in the daylight condition even if the brightness is turned all the way up. So moving on, the design. It's quite similar to a lot of phones out there, especially the ones that came out in the year 2017 and 18, and it's boring, but that's not a bad thing, and I really appreciate a metal back on any budget because I carry the phone naked, and yes, the phone is really slippery. The metal body is what saved my ass a lot of times. The phone experienced a lot of drops from relatively good heights, and it only has a few small dents here and there and a few scuff marks and nothing major. The only problem I can talk about the build are the buttons. When I hit the power button to lock the screen or trigger something with it, it sometimes registers a double press and sometimes it doesn't even work at all and I have to press it even harder. The fingerprint sensor is in the right place and it's quick, but the software sometimes makes me feel a little slower. Now let's talk software and battery. I used the stock ROM that came with it for the most part, but recently I flashed the AOSP extended ROM version 5.7 with mint kernel and relaxed Gauna and a few more tweaks from Postron XDA. Link will be in the description. And I'm very happy that I chose AEX over other ROMs out there. In the beginning when I flashed it, the battery life was not that great, but after everything got synced and got settled, I have no problem using it from 7 in the morning to 8 in the evening with still 15 to 20% left. So for those screen on time seekers, I get around 4 to 5 hours even though I use it heavily, and people are getting somewhere around 7 hours screen on time, and everything depends upon the types of apps installed, the way they use it, how frequently the screen is on, and a lot more factors. And so screen on time is not the best way to evaluate the battery's capability, and the kernel also supports fast charging, which is an added bonus. The only issue is the location services drastically affects the battery performance. So the Snapdragon 626 is a tested standard for performance and battery, and the 4GB does a good job handling the background multitasking, but sometimes the phone gets considerably slow and a restart fixes the issue for me. Considering this phone will get the Android P update, this is still a phone you can opt for if you're okay with the bezels, and also it seems like Mi A2's price will be a little bit higher than the Mi A1, obviously, but everything depends on one's budget though. Let's now talk cameras. When a company includes cameras with different focal lengths, I would surely pick that one over the depth sensing shit other companies include. You won't believe how many times I've used that telephoto lens to capture the pictures. For example, this picture while the car was moving and it doesn't have any kind of stabilization. That's a great picture. What I like is most pictures are taken with less contrast and a little less saturation in it and good rich details, which really helps us in post-production, and the HDR really does the job and it never disappointed me. The portrait mode works really well almost every time, at least for me, and I truly appreciate the edge detection. but I feel one should consider the background too when taking a picture. If there isn't a contrast between the subject and the background, the software struggles to detect the difference. The low light shots also come out pretty well with less noise and more details, which is really surprising. Now the video quality on the Mi A1 might not be the best for all, but if the phone is in the right hands, it can create some amazing content. It has potential, but it's not for all. The front camera is decent for occasional selfies and video calls, but nothing fantastic there. I can confidently say that this phone really has the potential in camera department to compete with real players in the market. Now finally, a few important things why Mi A1 is still a good option to buy over the Mi A2 if the price for the Mi A2 turns out to be higher. This has a headphone jack which has become a novelty for slimmer phones, and the inbuilt high quality DAC that Xiaomi includes really makes the listening experience that much better and louder. The next is USB Type-C. While the whole tech industry is moving towards USB-C, a lot of budget smartphones from those reputed companies still use the micro USB standard, but this being a decently priced phone, they managed to include the USB Type-C. And finally, the dual band AC Wi-Fi. Yes, it has the ability, but it doesn't seem to work for most people, and I haven't tried it because I don't have the router that supports 5 GHz, and so I can't comment on that, except for telling you that this exists. So that's my take on Mi A1. I might not buy the Mi A2 because they don't seem to release the kernel source being an Android 1 device, and that's the reason developers suffered making the custom ROMs for a long time. And the other thing is that the display image persistence problem is really annoying, and since the fact that Mi A1 will surely get the Android P, I don't find a need to upgrade if the Mi A2's base model costs more than 15,000. So that's been it. What are your thoughts on it? So do you think Mi A1 is still a player in the market even though the Mi A2 is right around the corner? Tell me in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and see you all in the next one.